I have to end this round of presentations. This is so difficult. Well, this 20 something minutes that I have here are going to be basically used to talk a little bit about what is the pet food industry. We are connected to rendering, right, in a way or another. So believe me, as when it comes to pet food industry, we are very interested in working hand by hand with you because we gotta need stability, development, and then we are going to talk about market trends to be able to talk about that. This is going to be very fast, but I think it's going to be very interesting in terms of figures. It's very interesting for those who haven't really worked in this area. This is an invitation for us to work together, for us to support, because this is a industry that is growing more and more. So we really want to keep working hand by hand with you all to provide the quality that we want. So the agenda, it's very fast. So you have trend tendencies, the fast global pet food, then we are going to talk about generals in Latin America. This is where we are nowadays. And we're also going to talk about the four largest markets. What have we observed in terms of market trends? And we're also going to talk about the quality of rendering products and pet food. So some topics were already touched upon when it comes to industries that devote to this issue. So I am not going to be so repetitive. We're also going to talk a little bit about the fast food manufacturing to obtain the quality that we want. How did we get that? So the global trends, let's take a quick look at it. You see this chart here. Among the 10 largest markets at global level that are led by United States and China, see, we have here many participants from Latin America. Look how curious. Brazil, we also have, sorry? All right. Oh yeah, I have to point this direction. Okay, got it. So we have Brazil in third place and Mexico in fifth place. Oh, sorry, just a second. Okay, now I can know what I'm doing. Great. Thank you. So Brazil in third place and Mexico in fifth. So among the 10 largest markets, we have Brazil and Mexico. So as you can see, Brazil has a very interesting figure. Here we're talking about data from 2021, but 3 million tons per year. Mexico, 1.5 million tons of pet food that is sold by year. This is an annual figure. Besides that, we also have what are the top claims demanded from the market. The two main, the first and the third that are mentioned here as pet food parameters basically are based on nutrition, high protein, and good source of vitamins. There are different kind of claims like the natural, which is obviously concern of products that have a more natural origin. This is something that is ongoing. This is very interesting because our customers, they requested that. And you from rendering industry, you also talked about natural antioxidants. And of course, for this spectrum, we also have different claims that are often requested when it comes to food quality. There are other aspects that are very much debated that would be gluten free or grain free. Maybe this is not the moment for us to talk about that because we don't know whether this is bad or not. But I repeat, there's lots of human factor here. Uh, Humans make this kind of request. And this is going to be connected to us when it comes to the pet food manufacturing. So let's see what happens in Latin America in a more concrete way. Could you please pass the slide? Thank you. Well, so here we have all the countries of Latin America. So we have in the first division, second and third division, like we were talking about soccer or something. So the first league, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina. And here we see a very interesting piece of information. The source is MXL, and Argentina is on the third place. I don't know if you can see it from where you were standing, but we're talking about 7 100 tons, 700 million tons per year. So we saw this data with Cayena. We're going to talk about this later, but they have a even higher figure compared to this one. Here, what I would like to point out is the three top leading markets of Latin America. Then we have the second division. Let's put it like that. Notice it's practically the half of what Argentina produces. And in this case, we see Colombia, and we also have the participant of this group, Chile. On the second division or the second group, we have Central America, right? Guatemala, Peru, and Costa Rica. And we will see another group or league that would be Uruguay, Panama, and here we can see rather smaller figures. But this is how Latin America volume is generated. So the top more expressive markets. Let's begin with Brazil. And these are just a snapshot of what's happening in the market. So these data, they're very interesting, because there's a very expressive growth of cats. The trend, not only in Brazil, of course, Latin America as well as the world, we have seen this trends of people adopting cats rather than dogs. Notice that we have here almost twice this figure in 2022. Something else is that all the expenses that these owners have when it comes to their pets, 100% of this investment, out of this 100%, 20% is represented by food. So we are already taking part of a very interesting part. Shampoo, toys, medicines, well-being, but the heavy expense also goes to food. What we have here contrasting with taxes. Of course, there's a very strong influence, and we talk about the amount of taxes that Brazil pays, which is very alarming. But here we have 18% somewhat. As you can see here, that in Europe, United States 8, Europe 15, but Brazil, here they tell us that the taxes are very high. And you see in figures, here we have Mexico. Look how interesting. This is a piece of information from retail, Walmart, supermarkets, grocery stores. How is this figure? When we see over 40% in the sales participation, then we have other channels. For instance, we have the distribution channel of small stores. All of them in Latin America, we are used to the purchase and sale of food in retail that are also popular market where open, you can, the 10-kilo bag can be sold in smaller packages. And this mass sales uh, happens through markets. This is another very interesting assumption. We can see in the external markets, 44% of the volume of the sales in Mexico is done, it's conformed by more economical or cheaper food. This is a pyramid. This is here what we see as economical, standard, and premium, the three different kinds of food that you could imagine in a more classical way. But here we can see that although the value of the economy is half, the value in standard is more than half. And the premium food is an expensive food, even though the volume is small, because you see 10% in the internal circle, but it represents a 27% value. So what is interesting that I would like to mention, this also happens due to the quality of the animal-based food. Here we see the manufacturing of premium or super premium. We have excellent examples in Brazil, also in Chile and in Colombia. Mexico, we are starting to think about that. So the idea, what is very interesting, what we want to do, we want to see more development of brands with more contribution of ingredient contribution for them to come up with a benefit for our pets when it comes to health, of course. But let's take a look at Argentina. The source that we used here was Caina, which was the chamber of feed industry. So you can see here that we have 1 million, 100,000 million tons for 2023. The first slide was talking about 800,000. So this other figure, it's a very significant figure if you think about Mexico that sends 1.5 million and Brazil 3. So 1,100,000. I mean, Argentina, it would be considered in the first division of the championship here. It's a very large market, very interesting. Something very important here that I would like to highlight for you all. Argentina has a technified market. So you purchase food, and we're talking about half or high average. Of course, this is something that is used for a more economical average, but the cheaper ones are in a smaller figure. So it's a very cool market where we can make very good businesses in terms of nutrition and quality. Here we have 85% of the food that is manufactured in local level. We have a retention tax and exports and imports. Uh, Unfortunately, right, but we also have this tax to export. But 85, 86% of the market, we're talking about dogs and 14% to cats. And here we have high inflation rates, and this stabilizes a little bit. In 2023, had a very bad moment. We had a drought when it comes to soybeans and grain, so the supply suffered with that. It wasn't only in Argentina, of course, at world level, we've also faced that during COVID, the trend increase in terms of having pets. So this enlarged it 200%. So the awareness of the owners of the pets with regards to their health needs. So there is a growing demand for sustainable products because this awareness of sustainability is increasing. So here we are in Colombia. So notice the difference between the world trade in Latin America concerning what happens in Brazil when it comes to the 6% increase of cats. Here we saw a drop in the cat trend tendency. This is what a source told us, and they say there was a decrease in the cat trends in 3.3%, but there's an increase in the adoption of dogs. And here, the more economical, the cheaper products, they take part of the 75% of the total volume of this participation. It's very important to highlight that there's a moment here, the inflation 2022, 2023. This is a very important number, 7%, but notice the super premium brands are growing. We have a exchange crisis. I also work with a Bolivian uh, company when we see a crisis to be able to get dollars. So the market is growing in 2 digits, the local market. It's very expensive for us to import, and the purchasers, the owners, they give us the opportunity to sell more. These are very interesting opportunities that happens in our country. In Latin America, we can see here some other trends, with the exception of Colombia, that had a very particular number at world level. So the trend of cat adoption is ongoing because it's more practical in terms of maintenance, because the household spaces are decreasing. So we see here different trends. So something else that are different categories. We also have companies that produce bars, which is the cooked and fresh food. This is a very strong trend because the new generations, they are starting to demand that a premium quality food for their pets. So Um, we will have to adjust and work together to provide our customers with good opportunities when it comes to this category. Something else that is very interesting, the two new food forms, we are very much connected to see these little pâtés or humid or moisturized gravy or the little pieces with some kind of gravy, right? In sachets. This is a trend in Europe and United States. So this kind of product that it's kind of like a human feed, like that little meal that we buy. We will see these trends that happening to the pets as well. A food like that and that kind of trend. The part of service, we also have a very strong trend. So diets done in a personalized way with a on-demand delivery. Like I have your data, I can deliver this food for you, and your pet is going to have this tailored kind of attention. So this is a very strong trend, as well as the new manufacturing or processing methods for food. Here we have dispute because the market will have to adapt. Cord extrusion, like we call it in the United States, it's like do like a sausage or some kind of um, food like that. We are talking about pre-cooked food that are gathered together and they form a unique, a single piece of food. But the aromas are also in discussions. The flavors, here we have suppliers that provide flavors that are specialized for pets based on animal tissue that are offered for you from rendering that they are hydrolyzed and it smells like pet food. Many companies they are offering the smell of pork or smell of or sometimes they are a little bit more sweet. So you there is a diversity. So this marriage between aroma and the flavor, this is something that people are commenting a lot and it's ongoing too. And there are some proposals that are very much innovative and technified. For example, this food here, it's done by Purina, as you can see here. And they focus on some protein levels that are people who have some kind of cat allergy, for instance, they will have a reaction to these proteins, and that can be found on the cat saliva. So if the cat eats that food, so if the guarantee is that these proteins on their saliva are going to decrease. So the human that has that kind of an allergy will not manifest that allergy anymore. So the trend that a human can present allergies is smaller. So there is this innovation trend. So like a technified food, as I said, almost technological. So our dream as an industry, obviously, is that the market grows nonstop when it comes to this segment. Why? Because here we're going to provide nutrition, health to the animals, well-being for those who sell additives for those who will sell flavor or meals. We're going to buy better meals for more digestibility. We're going to install the best equipment, the best manufacturing practices for us to have the best product possible. But at the same time, we also have the real thing of it that our countries they will have economical crisis. You know how it goes. We're going to have problems. The tutors are going to have problems to purchase food. So we are in this yin yang. Should we move on? Should we step back? White and black, right? So it's very complex moment. This is what we're talking about in terms of economical trend. What do we have in terms of yielding for pets? So the yielding or the rendering for pet food this is something that affects us, the color, the meal, the fat that we apply. This can they affect the color and the aroma. So it's very important, of course, for those who don't know or don't remember, the dog has a smell ability that is 200 more sensible compared to ours. So it's always good to work with freshness, good practices in this aspect, process quality, temperature, everything not burn, not allowed when it comes to the raw materials. This thing of the flavors, this is very sensitive for us. Color and aroma. On the other hand, palatability also has to do with aroma. If they could say, if they could speak, they would say this has a very nice smell, not only the taste. So their acceptance has more to do with the aroma than the flavor. Yes, they will use that to conjugate, but they do privilege the aroma because this is what they have more sensibility. So our products, when it comes to yielding or rendering, they are very sensitive to that. So we gotta improve the palatability. So the more easy the digestion is, the best is for us. Our promise as an industry is these they will eat these balls and they won't need anything else. I want my animal spends so many years. I don't want it to be sick. So the nutrition and food is very important. So the amino acids that contributes for digestibility, this is something very important since we're talking about pet feed. And of course, everything that comes in comes out. So believe me, uh, this is what we have to focus on because we measure also the quality of the stool. We don't want that a lady that has a very beautiful rug, they have to use water and soap to wash it every day. We want to for them to gather the stool and the rug is clean. All of that is very important. This is an influence of the meals and the animal-based fats that we use for our pet food manufacturing. Of course, the part of the acidity, the part of the quality, there's something very complete about that. So here we have all these observations because here I'm talking about food safety because at the end of the day, this is right. The children that was playing with this dog, they're also playing with food. We want that the dog eat this food and has a very shiny fur. But if the kid is touching the food and it has salmonella, we will see a consequence on her health. We don't want a kid having a problem with it. So the pet food is an industry that requires lots and lots of care with regards to the product. We love working with you guys to be able to have the quality that we need to offer the quality that the pets or the owners require. And I thank so much for your time. We are here at your disposal.